I was wrong about Scottie Barnes and the Toronto Raptors. Hey guys, welcome back to League Talk. I'm Emmanuel Camia, and if you are new to this channel, I make videos where I give takes on NBA storylines. I give my opinions on whatever's going on in the NBA. So if you are into that kind of thing, make sure to subscribe and leave a like on this video so we can help get it to more basketball lovers like you. Yeah, let me jump into this video. Now I know the season just started and the Toronto Raptors have only played 11 games, but today I wanted to come and retract what I previously said about Scottie Barnes, particularly what I said about the Toronto Raptors. Now, if you're new here, a couple months ago I made a video detailing how the Toronto Raptors completely butchered the NBA draft, and I said this because they opted to draft Scottie Barnes instead of drafting Jalen Suggs. Jalen Suggs was a player I thought was better than Scottie Barnes. I thought that Jalen Suggs would do the Toronto Raptors better early on and in the long run, and I took the stance for a number of reasons. Because I really like what I saw from Jalen Suggs. I'd watched him a couple times in college. I liked his game, and I still do. Don't get me wrong, I think he's going to be a great player for the Orlando Magic. I love the confidence that he played with in college. I loved what I saw from him in the March Madness tournament. The ability to take big time shots with no fear in his veins, no fear in his heart. I really like that from him. But with that being said, I have to come here and admit when I'm wrong. And in this particular case, I was extremely wrong. Toronto was absolutely right to pick Scottie Barnes over Jalen Suggs. And I'm not just saying this because the two rookies have got off to polarizing starts. Because oftentimes in the NBA, when rookies come into the league, in any really professional sport, it takes some time to adjust to playing in a newer league. It takes time to adjust to the pace. You go from playing with people your own age, people your own mass, to playing with guys that are older than you, to playing with guys that have come into their own frame, guys that have gotten their man bodies. You're playing with 36-year-olds, grown men with wives and kids. It's a whole different ball game. And this particular reason is the same reason why, particularly not in the NBA, but in the NFL, you have to stay there for a few years. You can't just do a one and done, because they acknowledge that college kids and grown men are not the same. If somebody's gonna get hurt, it's just unfair. And so this happens to a lot of rookies in the NBA. It takes some time for them to really come into their own and step into the game and get a good feel for the game. But with that being said, there are a handful of rookies that we've seen, particularly in the past few years, that have come into the game and have been able to pick it up right away. These rookies being, of course, Luka Doncic was a huge one, Trae Young, big one, John Morant, big one, LaMelo Ball, etc., Zion Williamson. There seems to be a number of people, a number of guys who have such a feel for the game that it does not matter, right? And Scottie Barnes, from what I'm seeing, is becoming one of those players. He is looking more and more like one of those players. He is confident in his role. He is confident. He's happy in playing basketball, and he seems like he has a lot of basketball IQ on him that I completely missed while assessing him for the NBA draft. Something I haven't seen from Jalen Suggs in particular. And I don't want to knock Jalen Suggs. He's still a rookie, and this, like I said, it may take some time for him to step into his own, get into his own man body, understand the game at that pace. But when you contrast him and his counterparts like Scottie Barnes, it brings me to realize that yes, Toronto was completely right to draft Scottie Barnes. He was the right guy for Toronto in a number of ways. Not just because he's good, of which he is. In the games that he's played for Toronto, he has averaged 16.6 points, 8.7 rebounds, and 2 assists, which is really nice for a rookie. He's managed to help Toronto get to a 6-5, as of making of this video, 6-5 record. And this record was accumulated for the majority of a time in which Pascal Siakam was not playing. And he's a big player for the Toronto Raptors, so that was pretty good. And furthermore, Scottie Barnes has also garnered praise from one of the best in the game, in Kevin Durant. The other night, the Toronto Raptors played against the Brooklyn Nets, and Kevin Durant had a lot of praise to give Scottie Barnes, particularly because of how Scottie played on defense. He gave James Harden a hard time. He gave Kevin Durant a hard time, and Kevin Durant couldn't do anything but acknowledge him and tip his hat off to him. He said something along the lines of the way Scottie is playing in relation to his age. He was surprised because normally you don't see this kind of play from guys this young. So that just goes to show you how Scottie is viewed around the league. And so I'm gonna jump to this. Another reason why Scottie Barnes is a better fit for, well, he's a good fit for the Toronto Raptors is because of the way he has embraced the city of Toronto. Oftentimes, when American players play for Canadian cities, whether it's in hockey, whether it's in basketball, the players don't really embrace the city as they would American cities. We saw this, and I saw this, and I really hated it with Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard came to Toronto, and it was a pit stop for him, even though he won a championship within 1 year of arriving in Toronto. And Toronto is a great organization. Toronto they have one of the best front offices in the league. They have one of the best presidents in Masai Ujiri. And at the time, they had a really good roster, like really good. I think their roster was almost better than the Clippers team that Kawhi opted to join. And so he just didn't care. He just left, which was really selfish. Another particular player that did this was Goran Dragic, or if that's his name. I don't know, if like Drago or something. I don't know. I can never pronounce his name. But he was a point guard from the Miami Heat that the Toronto Raptors got in exchange for Kyle Lowry. I think that was the deal. And he came out publicly and he said his goal was to get to a different city. So he saw Toronto as a pit stop. And so when assessing a player to have them come on to the team, you have to kind of view how are they going to view the city of Toronto? How are they, because it's a different country, right? You get different TV shows. Well, not that different, but you get different TV shows, different commercials. It's a wholly different experience from being in the United States, right? And so, not to mention the cold, right? And so you kind of really have to put that as a factor. Players that did this, that embraced the city of Toronto for what it was. Kyle Lowry, tip my hat off to Kyle Lowry, the greatest Toronto Raptor player of all time. Chris Bosh, what he played for Toronto. And most notably and most importantly, I'd have to say Vince Carter. Vince Carter did so much for the city of Toronto, even though he never won a championship. He embraced the city. He would show up at nightclubs, right? Him dunking, doing crazy dunks with the Toronto Raptors across his chest helped make Toronto relevant. It kept Toronto from going the way of the Vancouver Grizzlies. If you don't know what I'm talking about, the Vancouver Grizzlies, in my opinion, went under, and they were relegated and sent to Memphis because they did not have a star. They did not have a star to sell tickets, so people never came to their game. But Toronto had a star in Vince Carter. Vince Carter was larger than life, right? Air Vince Carter, if you would say. He and that was tickets that would bring people's eyes, and he is, in my opinion, one of the reasons why Toronto still has a basketball team today. I think if he wasn't in Toronto, and also with Tracy McGrady, if he was not in Toronto probably would have lost the Toronto Raptors a long time ago. So I would credit Vince Carter and Kyle Lowry up there as the greatest Toronto Raptors of all time, just because of what they've done for, not only just Toronto, but the city of Toronto, right? Kawhi helped win the first championship ever for the Toronto Raptors, but the way he carried himself when it came to the city, that's also one of the reasons I really like the fit of Scottie Barnes, what I see from him. Scottie seems to be enjoying the city of Toronto. He seems to be embracing the city of Toronto. He's been seen interacting with fans with a smile on his face. He threw the first pitch at a Toronto Blue Jays game. He's been to the Blue Jays game. So he seems like he's really settling into Toronto for what it is, right? And I really like that about him. I have to credit the Raptors front office for what they did. I did not see this, and I have to admit when I'm wrong. And this Scottie is the perfect fit for the Toronto Raptors. And the good thing is he's only going to get better, and I'm excited to see what he's going to do next. I'm excited to see his progression. And I just wanted to come on here and make this video and give props, give respect where respect is due. And so those are just my thoughts on that. So guys, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to hit the subscribe button and make sure to leave a like. I'd really appreciate that, and click here to watch why I think the Miami Heat and the Golden State Warriors should be the favorites in this year's NBA season. And aside from that, thank you guys for watching. See you next time, kids.